Hi guys, I'm here to talk to you about Khan Academy. It's an online website where students can go and work on different lessons in your subject areas, and the teachers can actually differentiate and give each individual student their own lessons as far as what specific topics they need to work on. I've been using it just for math because that's specifically what I teach, but there's also a science, economic and finance, arts and humanities, computing, and a test prep section that you can use as well. The goal of this video is to show teachers and students how to log in and what they can do with the website once they get logged in. My goal as far as what I would like to use this website with my students is that I would really like to have it be like a technology Friday type thing where they come in and we always take quizzes on Friday, and I think this would be something that after the quiz they could all work on Khan Academy, and I could individualize their lessons and they could get extra help in standards that they've been struggling with so far during the year. If you're a teacher, you click on the Teachers Start Here. I always sign in with Gmail just because my school uses Google and we have a Gmail account, so I sign in with that. But if you don't have a Gmail account, you can always just enter your first and last name and your email. I already have an account set up, so I'm going to enter into my home page. This is what the dashboard looks like once you've logged in. I have my actual classes set up here, and I'm not going to use those as examples because they have the actual students' names. But this test class that I've set up has 6 students in it, and I have gone in and they've made their passwords and set up accounts. Anytime you want a student to log in, all of my students have Gmail accounts and that's what they use. But again, just like the teacher side, if you don't have a Gmail, you can actually go in and physically set up kids' usernames and passwords, and that's what I did for this test class. They need to have the class code, and that's what they enter in. Khan Academy will ask for this, and once they type this in, then you are now one of their coaches, and that's how you can give specific lessons to the kids and tell them what they specifically need to work on. Once you have students in your class, you can then go to skill progress, and this is where you can see all of the different, they call them missions for 7th grade math is what I'm using right now, but you can use for any grade level, any subject area. So these are all of my standards within 7th grade math. Right now, I'm in negative numbers, and there's all of these different mini lessons that they can work on. Then there's fractions and decimals, rates, expressions, geometry, and statistics. These are all of my Common Core standards that I have to teach. So you can kind of just pick whichever ones you want the students to work on. When you click down on the drop down arrow, it gives you a little description of the types of problems you will see in that particular lesson, and also then it opens up to this big sort of spectrum for each individual standard. They all start out in the needs practice section, but then once they start practicing that particular lesson, then if they do well on it, they will move up to the practiced and level 1, 2, and mastered. But then if they are struggling with it, they will drop down. So if you want to recommend that your students work on this, you just click recommend to students that need to practice. And once that gets recommended to them, then the students get a notification that this is something that you as the teacher want them to work on. So now I'm going to go over to the student page and I'm going to log in as an actual student. As the student, you would click Start Learning Now, and then if they had a Gmail, they could click Sign in with Gmail. Since this is a test student for me, I'm just going to click login and enter their username and password. At this time, they will see their homepage dashboard, and it kind of looks sort of similar to the teacher page as far as different tabs that you have up at the top. At the very first time that the students log in, they get to pick an avatar. And as they level up and get more points, their little avatar grows and changes, and they can add more things to their avatar. So far, my kids have really liked that, and they've enjoyed and been motivated by trying to get their avatar bigger and better. So that's kind of a cool portion of the Khan Academy website. Up here at the top, this is their notifications. It kind of works like Facebook. As soon as they get notified that they've either done something well or their teacher wants them to work on something, they'll get a notification, and you click on that. And then it says, your coach recommended signs of sums for you. So you can click on that and then hit resume. And then it will take you to the page that you need to get to where you recommended the lesson for them. So I recommended signs of sums. So then you just go into practice. At this point, then you should see problems coming up. And then they just answer the questions. They go through and answer them to the best of their ability. If they ever get stuck, there's a video that they can watch. And these videos are actually Khan Academy videos where people are talking and explaining concepts. So they're educational videos that students can watch. If that still doesn't help, they can receive a hint. They don't get hints all the time. The more points they get, the more hints they will in turn eventually get. But if you use up your hints at the beginning, it'll be a while before you get more hints. So they go through and answer the question. If they get it right on the first time, they will see a little smiley face and they can move on to the next question. If they happen to get it wrong, they'll see a little gray X up at the top, and then they just need to try again. So it says incorrect, please try again. And then as soon as they get the answer correct, they'll receive their smiley face. But it still shows up at the top that they did get the question wrong at first. So they go through and they do their questions. As soon as they get 5 questions in a row right, that's when they can level up to the next level on the spectrum that I was showing you earlier. So they have to get 5 questions in a row right in order to level up. One aspect of this website that I absolutely love is that it's basically real-time data that you're getting from your students. So while your students are working on their end, you can then go in to your skill progress tab up at the top and click on whatever lesson they were working on. So earlier I did some trials with one-step equations with addition and subtraction, and I had these 2 students work and they leveled up. So they were no longer at the needs practiced. They not only leveled up through practice, they got up to level 1. You can then even click on their name and it shows the progress that they got for this question. And it even says that they did this problem and it took 7 seconds for them to answer that question. Okay? The longer your students work on this, the more data you have. So for example, if I go back to my reports, I'll take a look at a student who has been working for longer than just my test subjects. So we can see this student's data from all time. And we see all of the problems that they have been working on. We see specifically that they've got up to level 1 on one-step equations with addition and subtraction. They've actually mastered division by 2 digits. And I can look and see this red that they're struggling with combining like terms. I can click on the actual number of questions and go through and see their whole entire history of all the problems that they've answered with this. The question marks means that they've used a hint, and you can actually go through and see how long they're spending on each question. So sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I see students working through and just clicking random answers. And I see that they spent a second, 2 seconds, 1 second, 3 seconds. So then I can go over to them and say, hey, you're not spending appropriate time on this question. Slow down, which is a really nice feature. I can see exactly what the students are doing, how long it took for the questions, and I really like that as far as being able to monitor what the students are doing. If you go to the Student Progress tab up at the top, you can see a list of all of the students and how many minutes they've spent and what standards they need help with and what standards they are leveling up in. I like to keep this up in class because the students really make it a competition as far as how many points each student gets. So far, I love Khan Academy. It seems like it's a very, very structured, specific lesson plan for each individual student, and it's really individualizing their math skills and what they need help with. So I can't wait to experiment more with Khan Academy and have my students get the specific instruction that they need rather than just focusing on generalized lessons. They get specific lessons just set for them based on what they have mastered and what they are struggling with. So hopefully I can challenge my students and help them grow even more throughout this school year. I hope you found something that you could use on this website. Like I said, there's lots of different subject areas, so maybe there's something for you in your classroom if you aren't a math teacher. And if you are a math teacher, I really suggest you take a look at this because, like I said, it is a really neat way for students to get individualized help.